In this video, I'm going to give you some controller settings you can use to move like Shotzi.
Monitor maps. What the f?
I mean, you get what I'm trying to do.
You're gonna dolphin dive that shit.
And shoot like Bruce.
And nonetheless, shot's gonna come in over towards. Oh my god, Dashi! Just sent Kenny and Envoy to the shadow realm.
Even if you're on a default controller. We're going to cover button layout, sensitivity, aim assist settings, movement settings, and an accuracy secret that I've used to improve my precision by a ton. Starting with the button layout, if you are on a default controller especially and you don't have paddles, the biggest challenge could be jump shotting in this game, which is so meta. So in order to jump without moving your thumbs off your thumbsticks, you're going to need to change your button layout. I highly recommend Bumper Jumper Tactical. I switched over to Bumper Jumper Tactical myself in Black Ops 4, and it made my gameplay so much better, especially when jump shotting around corners and peeking corners. And overall, it made my movement so much better because I no longer had to take my thumbs off the thumbsticks in order to jump, which is a huge benefit in Call of Duty. It is a little weird at first, but if you go shoot some bots and just jump around in a private match while listening to some music, it's not too hard to get used to, and then once you get used to it, you'll never look back, trust me. And of course, this also makes your change stance, slide, and dive to your R3 button, so pushing down your right stick. This also really helps with movement and snaking and things like that in this game specifically. So if you've never tried Bumper Jumper Tactical, I highly recommend you give it a shot. And when it comes to sensitivities, I'm going to keep this very simple for most people. You're going to want to use a sensitivity between 5 and 8. 8 on the high end, 5 on the lowest end. You want to be somewhere in that range. I myself play on 7.7. A lot of pros seem to play on 6.6, but I personally really like 7.7. So stay between 5 and 8 on your stick sensitivities. Quick note, but make sure you turn controller vibration off. You don't need this. It's just going to be distracting to you. But if you do really just want it on, you can leave it on, but I highly recommend just turning it off. Now regarding this ADS Sensitivity Multiplier option, this is a setting I personally fell in love with in Modern Warfare 2019. I think it helped me improve my accuracy, especially over longer ranges with an AR a lot. And I play on a 0.9. This basically means when you aim down your sights and then you move left and right, it's going to slow down your ADS sensitivity, which is pretty self-explanatory, but a lot of pros do leave this on 1, which is the default value, and 1 is perfectly fine. But if you do find yourself whiffing shots or not being able to track targets that easily, especially if you are on a higher sense like 7 or 8 or even above, I do recommend trying to turn this down a little bit. 0.9 is the sweet spot for me, but you can also go down as low as maybe 0.8. I wouldn't go too much below that though, where you're just going to be too slow and not be able to track enemies, but give 0.9 a try. When it comes to aim assist settings, you want to make sure your target aim assist is on for first and foremost, and then for the aim assist type, you're going to want this on default as of now. At the beginning of the game, pros were using Black Ops, but I believe they changed it during some update, so now default is the best. Can't go wrong with default. And then from there, you just want to change your aim response curve type to dynamic. This is what all the pros are on for the most part, and it is the best one. So just make sure you change that to dynamic. If we come down a little farther to inputs, dead zone, and click show more, you can probably just copy these settings, but if you do have stick drift, you're going to want to look at changing your left stick and right stick minimums, and you're just going to want to bump these up by 1 or 2 each time, and then go in game and test and see if your sticks are still drifting bad. If they're drifting just a tiny amount, it's perfectly fine to play like that. But if they are drifting enough to where it's throwing your aim off and being really frustrating, then you are going to need to turn these up as low as you can still get them without having stick drift, but you will have to turn them up to fix your stick drift. I play on 0.05 and I don't have any stick drift issues on my new controller. Maximums, you can leave these at 0.99, it's perfectly fine. And then for the left and right triggers, I have mine on 0.05. Some people put these on 0, but this is essentially how sensitive your triggers are. Whenever you press them down, how quickly they're going to actually fire, which I find mine on 0.05 to be fine. Some people like the idea of putting them on 0 just to feel like it's instantaneous when they press their button it fires, but I just like leave mine on 0.5. Now we are on to the movement section. We are under the advanced tab still, scroll down to the movement behaviors section. For this section, we're going to want tactical sprint behavior on single tap run. This will just make it a lot easier to press your left stick and run instead of having to like spam it and really cause damage to your controller. Just put this on single tap run and that will make that a lot easier. Grounded mantle we went off because this is going to cause auto mantles and problems with your movement where you're going to be choking gunfights because of it. Same thing with these next two. Automatic airborne mantle I have off. You could put this on partial, but I wouldn't have it on. Put it on partial or off. And then automatic ground mantle, you definitely want this one off. This is that automatic mantle that makes you choke gunfights when you're on a head glitch and then someone walks around the corner and you try to jump shot and then next thing you know, you just climbed over the thing and you lost a gunfight, you know what I mean? So make sure you turn that off. Invert, slide, and dive behavior is a really important one in this game. I recommend learning inverted. I was on standard for most of this game until recently, but turning it onto inverted definitely made my movement much better. It basically means whenever you press your slide button or dive button, all you have to do is press it one time and then you will dive as opposed to holding it to dive. So it just makes diving a lot snappier and quicker since most of the time you're going to be diving and you're pretty much never going to need to slide in this game. For plunging underwater, you want this on plunge freely. This is how you do the Shotzi dive out of the water thing that he does on Hydro, if you've ever seen him do that. I haven't personally spent the time to learn how to do it yet, but I am pretty sure he has it on plunge freely in order to do that. For ledge hang mantle behavior, I like to have mine on movement base. This just means I can climb over and mantle the walls whenever you do that hang on thing by using my left stick and just climb over it with my movement, but this one's kind of personal preference. Finally, for movement settings, I personally play with automatic sprint off, but if you do like it, you can try automatic tactical sprint. This is banned by the pros because it could be seen as kind of overpowered in terms of having faster, better movement at the pro level. But if you do want to give automatic tactical sprint a try, it definitely can feel nice if you get used to it. But I personally just like to play with it off to have maximum control over my character's movement. But it's definitely worth trying out if you've never tried it. And for the final tip, which is my accuracy secret, I started using Control Freak Galaxies a few years ago and they honestly improved my aim and precision so much. I do have a affiliate code, which is code Skridley, to get 10% off at controlfreak.com. But I honestly, even if I didn't have that code, which I got a few years ago, I just highly recommend them. And I honestly just cannot play without them myself. So try out some Control Freak Galaxies if you haven't. I think they're really great. The high rise stick really does add some precision and I'm a big believer in them. So use code Skridley at controlfreak.com and get 10% off a pair of Control Freak Galaxies or whichever thumbsticks you prefer. Help support the channel and I really appreciate you guys' support. Thanks for watching, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys next time.